Hello, my name is Rick Blum. For those of you who've signed in, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? You could respond in the chat box. Very good. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait like another minute and we will get to the presentation. Okay, I think I'm going to get going. My name is Rick Blum, and I've been a Vedic math teacher for over 25 years. And the purpose of this presentation today is to explain what Vedic math is, where it comes from, and how it could benefit both your family in general and your children specifically. One of the things I found nowadays is there are very few subjects that parents and their children can learn together. Kids learn what they learn in school. Most times parents don't really understand it. But what I'm going to be showing you today with regard to Vedic math is something that the entire family can learn. Everyone learns at the same rate. Everybody starts at the same spot. And I found it's a very enjoyable experience for the family. So the way I'm going to do this is, first off, I'm going to start with a PowerPoint presentation. And let me pull that up. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see this. I've shown demonstrations in schools for the last 20, 25 years, and I'm firmly convinced that Vedic math is both a better way to teach math and definitely a better way to learn math. Question is, what is Vedic math? Vedic math was rediscovered about 100 years ago by an Indian mathematician whose name was Bharti Krishna Tirthaji. Tirthaji basically went into seclusion for 7 years and reviewed ancient Vedic texts, mathematical texts. And what he came away with was there are 16 what he referred to as sutras. A sutra is a small, short rule. And his contention was if you applied this rule in a certain way at a certain time, you can do math problems mentally much quicker than you could do by hand. And when I first heard about Vedic math and I saw these claims, I was pretty skeptical. What I did was, though, I got a couple of books and I started reading. And to my amazement, it was absolutely true. Now, I was a math major in college. I'm an actuary, which is doing mathematics all day. And I had never seen anything like this before. Whenever I go into classes and do demonstrations, I always ask people, how they feel about math. Some young adults say they really like it and they enjoy it, which is good. Others, though, they basically say it's the worst subject to study, it's boring, it's useless because they use a calculator to do all the calculations. I honestly have a real problem with that, but save that for another time, another place. Many times when a teacher explains how to do a certain type of problem, they present it in a way where there's like one road to the solution. If you don't know the exact procedure to follow down the road, or if you go off the road, you are not going to get the answer. And that's what they drill into your head. I myself personally, when I was in college, there were times when a teacher would explain something traditional way, and I wouldn't get it. I just wouldn't get it. It seemed like everybody else got it, but I didn't get it. And honestly, it made me feel stupid. And these feelings of stupidity and inadequacy lowered my self-esteem and my self-confidence. When I discovered Vedic math, things started to change. The techniques that I'll be showing you in Vedic math, they literally work like magic. And they can be seen immediately, they work immediately. They'll help every student do math faster. And whenever you can do something faster than anybody else, that elevates your self-esteem and your self-confidence. It'll remove pretty much most of the dependence on a calculator. And most importantly, a lot of times with students, math is a very difficult subject. For some students, it's impossible. For some adults, it's impossible. And when you learn Vedic math and you realize that you could do math faster than anybody in the country, I didn't say county, I didn't say state, I said the country. When you could do math that fast, you basically have conquered mathematics. And if you can conquer math, which is the most difficult subject there is, all the other subjects, their difficulty pale by comparison. And not only do you start doing better in math, but you start doing better in other subjects too. Okay, what I've done is just to kind of show you how Vedic math works. I basically have produced exhibits. Each exhibit consists of 3 sections. First section states a problem. The second section shows how you would solve the problem traditionally, how it's taught in schools. And the third section shows how it's solved Vedically. And what I've done is I've taken just a variety of types of problems to demonstrate this. Simple multiplication, double-digit multiplication, triple, 4-digit, squaring numbers, multiplication of polynomials, fractions, and some algebraic applications. Vedic math is not only good for arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, but there are applications in algebra, trigonometry, geometry, calculus, astronomical calculations, differential equations, and on and on. These methods are out there to be used, and they're just waiting for you. So let me show you how this works. Simple multiplication, 8 times 7, not a difficult problem. Typically, the way a person comes to the answer is one of 4 ways. They have the answer memorized, which is basically the way adults have it. I mean, you say 8 times 7, the answer is 56. You don't even think about it. It's just memorized. It's not that way for students. Some of them, I've actually seen this in 7th and 8th grades. They count on their fingers. Or they'll write 8 7 times and then add them. Or, unfortunately, they'll use a calculator. Vedically, it's a very simple scheme to arrive at the answer. And I'll show some more applications of this in the upcoming slides. One thing though, when I went to school, we were required to learn multiplication tables up to 10. From what I understand today, a lot of students are required to learn multiplication tables up to 15 or 16. In Vedic math, there is no need to memorize any tables above the 5 times table. Very simple. Okay, now, hold on. Now we're going to try double-digit multiplication. Again, not difficult. This is how you'd basically do it. But here's the problem. With many younger students, penmanship is always a question. And what happens is your 8, when it's written, can turn into a 9. Your 4 can turn into an 8. Your 1 can turn into a 7. So penmanship is a factor. Secondly, when you do these problems, you have to line them up exactly. If you don't line them up exactly, you're not going to get the right answer. So here the answer is 224. Everything's lined up and everything's written correctly. Vedically, you skip those middle steps and that scratch work and you go right to the answer, 224. And you can work the problem from right to left, which is the only way most students have ever seen this. But you could also work it from left to right. And we teach you that in Vedic math also. Sometimes working a problem from left to right is a much better approach. And again, the whole solution is written in just one line. Now, can somebody do this in their head? Potentially. They have a pretty good memory and they could memorize all the numbers as you're doing it. But now when we go to 3 digits by 3 digits, this is where the magic starts to happen. This is what's necessary to calculate this product. You got to write down all these numbers. You got to make sure they line up. You got to make sure your 1s aren't 7s or whatever, and you end up with your answer. Vedically, you just write the answer. Just write the solution. And again, right to left to right. And it's very easy to do. And when somebody sees a person doing this, especially if they get the right answer, they'll say, this person must be a mathematical genius. And a lot of these methods in Vedic math will make you look that way because people have been taught one way of doing it, and Vedic math is entirely different, an entirely different approach. And you get the answer faster in one line with no middle steps, no scratch work, and it really is unbelievable. 4-digit multiplication. Now again, this is not a difficult problem, but there are a lot of numbers that have to be lined up correctly. You've got to add them up correctly to arrive at an answer. Chances are most younger students will not get the answer the first time and maybe not get the answer, period. And this goes for adults too. Vedically, again, you just write the answer. The first time I started learning this, I just thought this was amazing. This is like, again, impossible. Can't be done this way, but it can be, and there it is. And it's an amazing thing to see. How about squaring numbers? 3,214 squared. That's just multiplying the number by itself. 4 digits by 4 digits. And again, you've got to write the numbers, got to make sure they line up to arrive at an answer. Vedically, again, you just write the answer. And it's either right to left or left to right. For those of you who are getting into algebra, here we have multiplication of polynomials. We're going to multiply first polynomial by the second polynomial. In order to get the correct answer, this is the process that you've got to go through. There are a lot of numbers there, there are a lot of x's, a lot of exponents flying around. And this is what you, and again, it's got to line up, got to make sure all the numbers are correct, all the exponents are correct, and that's the answer you arrive at. Vedically, very simple. Left to right, right to left. On one line approach. Now, fractions. A lot of adults, I would guess, probably couldn't do this. A lot of children have difficulty with it too, but a lot of adults have problems with this. What needs to be done is when you start a problem like this, you have to find this crazy animal called the lowest common denominator. When I first studied how to do fractions, the lowest common denominator was my enemy. I didn't know what it was, but I finally figured it out. It took a while. But when you do come up with the lowest common denominator, I say common denominator, like in this case, it's 28 in both denominators. When the denominators are equal, you could just add the numerators. 12 plus 7 is 19, and you got the 28. Vedically, you just, again, write the answer. And you can write this answer in 5 seconds. That's about how long it takes. How about subtraction of fractions? Here, again, depends how you were taught how to do this. The way I was taught how to do this was 7 3/7. First thing you have to do is change it all to sevenths. 4 1/4, change it all to fourths. At that point, you have to find the lowest common denominator. When you finally make it that far, denominators are the same. You just do whatever you have to the numerators. Here it's 208 minus 119. Gives you 89 over 28. Now you have a division problem to do to arrive at 3 5/28, excuse me. Vedically, again, you just write the answer, and you could write this answer inside of 5 or 10 seconds. How about a more complicated fraction problem where there's a high integer in front of the fractions? Is this a harder problem to do? You betcha. Here, 32 2/5 has to be changed to fifths. That's 162 fifths. You notice how suddenly the numbers are getting pretty large. Whenever you have large numbers, it gets very, very difficult. And if you look at the end here, we finally have the same denominator. We have to add 1134 and 1720 to come up with 2854. Now we have 2854 over 35. We have a division problem before we can come up with the solution. Vedically, very fast. Like I said, 5 or 10 seconds, and you've got the answer. How about division? And I'm actually going to, at the conclusion of this presentation, I'm going to show you how to divide by 9 and even 99 and come up with answers very quickly. Traditionally, if you're going to divide 9 into that number, you've got a long division problem. And again, you got to make sure all your calculations are right. You've got to make sure everything lines up. You got to make sure all the numbers are what you think they are. And this is what you have to do to get the answer. Vedically, you get the answer as fast as you could write it. Again, this shouldn't take you more than 5 seconds to get the entire answer. It's really an amazing thing to see. How about a more complicated division problem? 38 into 426, 351. Again, if you were going to do this, you have to use long division again. A lot of numbers flying around, and you come up with your answer. 11,219, remainder 29. Vedically, again, one-line solution. There are no middle steps and there's no scratch work. How about algebraic division? Here's your divisor, 2x plus 7, and you're dividing it into this lengthy polynomial. This is how you would do this problem. And to be candid, when I did this problem, to come up with this slide, I did not get the right answer a couple of times. It took me a while to get the right answer. And the traditional method, if it's even taught anymore like this, is really horrible. Vedically, one line. And it's as simple as that. So how does Vedic math help? That's really the bottom line. It allows adherents to solve many types of math problems immediately by just writing down the answer with hardly any work. The explanations as to how this works are very simple. And whenever I've demonstrated these things, and I ask parents there listening to what I'm saying, and I'll ask them, well, what do you think? And very, very often what the parents say is they're happy and they're happy and they're angry. And I'll say, well, let me hear. And they'll say, well, they're happy because it looks like a really nice way of doing math, and it's simple and it's quick. And I said, and what are you angry about? And the question is, why weren't we shown how to do it this way? And I said, well, I agree with you. I wasn't shown how to do it this way either. But now you'll know. For many students, they'll enjoy learning math. Now, for students that already enjoy learning math, they'll enjoy it more. For students that have not enjoyed math, this is going to be like a new, like a revelation to them that math can be fun, math can be enjoyable. When that happens, and again, when you increase your speed, when you increase your accuracy, you increase your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And that doesn't only go for math, but for other subjects as well. And to learn these methods takes far less time than it's currently taking to learn traditional methods. The savings in time, increase in students' math ability, and the improvement of a student's attitude towards math, basically, they all become enhanced. And you end up with a happier child, a happier adult. And when this is learned together as a family, it brings again, it sounds kind of silly, but it does bring the family closer together, something they can do together, something they can learn together, which probably hasn't happened, if ever, within some families. So what I'm going to show you now, unless there are any questions so far? No? Okay. I'm going to show you the syllabus. Okay. The first two things I usually demonstrate, squaring numbers ending in a 5 and multiplication of special numbers. I do this just to convince anyone that feels they're just not good in math and they just have a terrible time with it, that they can do math and they can do it faster than anybody. This empowers them. Once they are empowered, they are very receptive to all the other parts of Vedic math. And what follows is we do work on fractions, multiplication of 2 digits by 2 digits, 3 by 3, 4 by 4. We do algebraic multiplication. We do applications with the Vedic square. We do work with what's called bar numbers. Now, I mentioned earlier, whenever you have a problem that has large numbers in it, like 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s, that just inherently makes it a tougher problem. I don't care if it's multiplication, addition, subtraction, whatever. It just makes it a tougher problem when you have large numbers. Well, using this concept of bar numbers, you could basically take a 9 and turn it into a 1. Take an 8, turn it into a 2, 7 into a 3, and 6 into a 4. You lower the numbers, and then you can work out the problem in a certain way, and you do come up with a solution. So basically, you've taken out the difficulty of large numbers and replaced them with small numbers. In the very beginning, we spoke about Tirthaji developing these sutras. One of the sutras is all from 9 and the last from 10. And very basic sutra, but it has many, many applications. And we go through many, many applications of that particular sutra. Vedic multiplication with lines. This is just another way of showing you that there are alternative ways of coming up with solutions to multiplication problems. And the thing is, nowadays in school, the way they teach is there's one road to the solution. You've got to know this one procedure to arrive at a correct solution. Once you learn Vedic math, you can look at a problem and there could be 4 or 5 ways of doing the problem. And it's up to you how you feel like you want to do it. But you've got alternatives. And it does enhance creativity when it comes to solving problems. I do squaring numbers, which I showed you a little bit of. We check answers with digital sums. Digital sums is an interesting concept also. What they allow you to do is, once you've done an addition, subtraction, and multiplication problem, and you have an answer, in very short order, you can check it to see if it's correct. And this can be a very powerful approach, and it works. Straight division. Basically, there are several methods on doing straight division, and they are easy to use. The calculations are simple, and you get the answers very quickly. Finally, division on the flag. Division on the flag is referred to by Tirthaji as the crowning gem of Vedic math. And what that means is, with division on the flag, that enables you to divide any size number by any other size number, again, in one line. And that it's amazing to see. And okay, what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to stop here for a moment. If anybody has any questions, I'll answer them. And after the questions, if there are any, I will actually demonstrate a couple of these techniques for you. You could actually see them in action. Any questions? We're not all going to be shy, are we? No questions? Okay. Let's. Okay. Can everybody see this whiteboard? Let me know. I want to make sure you can see the whiteboard. Yes? Can everybody see the whiteboard? Excellent. Okay. Just going to turn my. Okay. Let's say you want to divide 9 into 123. Now, this number here is the divisor. This number here is the dividend. We look at how many numbers there are in the divisor. In this case, it's only 1. So we draw a line, 1 number in from the right. Over here, we're going to end up with the quotient, and over here, we're going to end up with the remainder. Here's what we do. And again, first time I saw this, I didn't believe it. Bring down the 1. You add the 1 to the 2, and you get 3. Add the 3 to the 3, and you get 6. That's your answer. 13, remainder 6. Okay, is there someone there, SP, that you can't see? Have you fixed that? Hopefully we'll figure it out. Okay, let's try another one, a little bit longer. How about 1, 0, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1. Okay, this would be a rather long division problem. One number in the divisor, basically going to make my line. Now, bring down the 1. 1 added to that number is 1. 1 added to that number is 4. 4 added to that number is 6. 6 added. Hello. I don't know what just happened there. Let's. Hold on. Okay. We're back. Where's my pencil now? Bear with me. Got it. Okay. 6 added to 1 is 7. 7 added to 0 is 7. 7 added to 1 is 8. That's the answer. Okay, I'm going to give you all a problem now to see if you can do it. Again, you just keep adding the number. Just keep adding them. Here, here, here. So, I'm going to give you a problem. Okay, let me see if you could do that problem. Well, someone's got an answer. I don't know if it's the right answer, but I'll work it out for you, but seems reasonable. Anybody else want to step up? Okay, let's work it out. Okay, we got two people with the same answer. Let's see what we get. One number in the divisor, make a line. 1 plus 0 is 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 0 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 plus 0 is 6. Very good, very good. Do you all see how simple this was compared to the traditional method? That's the point, okay? And many of the Vedic methods are this simple. But again, we just did this mentally. And Vedic math, to a very great degree, is mental math. So for those of you that put that answer down, you get 100. Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. Hold on here. I'm going to open it up for questions now. If anyone has any questions that they'd like to ask me about Vedic math or otherwise. Any questions? Can I share a technique that can be used to do basic multiplication? Yeah, I can do that. Go back to the whiteboard. Okay. One of the sutras, one of the other sutras that's used very often, and it's very helpful with multiplication. The sutra is vertically and crosswise. That's what it's called, vertically and crosswise. And let's say we're going to multiply 12 times 13. Now in Vedic math, a lot of times there are patterns that you can follow. Patterns are easier to remember than steps. The pattern is, that's the pattern when you're multiplying 2 digits by 2 digits. First thing you do is you multiply vertically. 2 times 3 is 6. The next step, you cross multiply and add. 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 plus 3 is 5. Last step is you multiply vertically. 1. You've got your answer in one line with no middle steps. How about something maybe just a little, about 23 times, oh, I don't know, 1, 3. Again, we're going to follow the same process. 3 times 3, which is this step, is 9. 2 times 3, 3 times 1, that's 6 plus 3 is, I don't know why that happens. I don't know why that happens. Hold on, we'll get back. Okay. Now we're at this step. Cross multiply 2 times 3, 3 times 1. That's 6 plus 3 is 9. And then this last step is just multiplying vertically. 2 times 1 is 2. And this works with larger numbers. This works. You expand the method depending upon how many digits there are. You can do this for 3 times 3, 4 times 4. And again, what you're going to end up with is just one line with the solution. So I hope that kind of answers the question. How do you handle decimals? Decimals are handled exactly the same way they're handled traditionally. If this was 2.3 and 1.3, you work the problem as though there were no decimals, and you end up at 299, and then you count the places to the right of the decimal point. You got 1 and you got 2. You got 2 places. You count in 1, 2. It'd be 2.99. If you were adding them, whenever you add, you make sure the decimal lines up and all the other numbers follow. And basically, you just add it up and put the decimal where it is. Let's see. Okay. Are there any other questions? We have that. Like I said, Vedic math has a lot of utility, and it's good right from addition and subtraction through algebra, geometry, trigonometry, etc. And the methods are all different from traditional methods, but they are much quicker, they're much more effective, and they're much more efficient. So, unless there are any other questions, I will end this seminar, this presentation. I thank you all for attending, and I hope to hear from you. Okay? Well, thank you very much. Bye-bye.